Why is bass fishing still king? Well, I can answer that in one word. Exciting.
Now I got it.
Or would it be challenging? Or maybe exhilarating? Well, either one of them would work. And today I've got the old master with me, and he's going to give us a few tips and pointers on how to catch a few more bass. We got a lot to cover in a short amount of time, so let's get her started. The G3 Sportsman is presented by Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
There, what? Soil max minute. Get on, stir it up a little bit.
That's a doggone good fish.
Fine, that's done. Come here, Dan. We're gonna let you go. You ain't that big. Oh, right on the edge of that roadbed. Same place.
The largemouth bass was voted the #1 sport fish in America, and for good reason. They're probably as challenging a fish to catch as there is out there. And it's no wonder that there's more bass tournaments than there is anything else. Because you think about the different applications, the different types of equipment, and all the baits. Good grief. I mean, I'm not a bass fisherman, and you could see every week at all the stuff that I have just back up here, and that's just a fragment of the stuff that I have. And they can frustrate you, and not anybody can be successful bass fishing. There's 1,000 different methods, and everybody has their own opinion of how to catch bass. I certainly don't consider myself a bass fisherman, but my guest host, Lonnie Stanley, now he is. Lonnie's been catching bass for over 40 years, and today he's going to go over a few simple things and give us a few tips on how to catch a few more bass. Right now, it's late summer to early fall, and we're going to segment a few ways that Lonnie and me caught bass using today's most popular baits.
Yeah, we were talking about the other day. If you had one bait, just one, it'd be hard not to pick the spinnerbait.
You can do so much with it.
Slow rolling or whatever.
You can fish it deep, you can fish it shallow, fish it slow, fish it fast. Like I say,
Winter
slow
time,
rolling it.
spring, water temperatures in probably in the mid-80s right now. Boy, you come out under that tree and eat that spinnerbait now. Come out here and go.
It's spinnerbait fishing fun.
Whoa.
That's a nice fish.
Oh, it is so much fun. Those fish are laying close.
That's a good one there, boy.
That's a good one. Come here, guy. You're gonna get me wet. We're gonna let you go.
That's a good fish, Lonnie.
Man.
What do you think about that?
Man, it come out of there and eat that spinnerbait now. Do a little straightening up on my spinnerbait when I get him loose. Was that a pretty fish or what?
Boy, that is a chunk.
That's one of the new colors of the WSC spinnerbait we're using. The new accent color in it. Got a little trailer on there. It's got one leg now instead of two. Nice fish. Thank you, girl. One of my favorite ways to bass fish forever has been on spinnerbait. And you know, by changing blade combinations and skirt colors, you can almost create anything that looks like a perch or a crawfish, or even your shads and stuff like that. But you know, one of the things I've got in my boat, and I've got a whole sack full of different colors of trailers, spinnerbait trailers. A lot of times on a cloudy day or a windy day or muddy water, that white trailer with on a white chartreuse and white spinnerbait, that little bit of chartreuse on the end of it, wiggling in the water, gets a lot of action. Or I've seen a lot of times when I'm slow rolling a spinnerbait, I'll take a brown or a golden shiner spinnerbait and put a gold one with a red on it, and kind of looks like, it kind of mimics a crawfish color. Let me show you what I'm talking about. You can take a white spinnerbait, and it's got a little touch of red, either the vibra or the wedge, and by just a regular trailer, you got a white trailer, and you can put a little chartreuse on the tip of it, or you can even put a chartreuse on with the red and change the whole concept of what you're looking at, what the fish see by changing the trailers. I come to these timbered lake, I usually, come here, girl.
That's a good fish there, Lonnie.
Oh, Come back in. That's a better one.
That's your biggest of the day there, Hoss.
Woo, this is mean, man. I'd be getting real nervous if it was a tournament. Oh,
Good fish right there.
nice fish there now. Ooh, look how pretty. Oh, that sucker was after that spinnerbait, man.
What I mean, he was, oh,
Spinnerbait, crankbait, hardbait, softbait, worms, grubs, frogs. I mean, my gosh, it's endless of the different types of baits and then how to use them. But that's what makes bass fishing unique, is because you don't do the same thing over and over. You've got topwater bites, you've got deep water bites, you've got pole timber, structure, lay downs, rock ledges. It goes on the different ways to catching bass and in the different parts of the year and how you're catching bass. That's what makes it a challenge, and that's why the anglers go after the largemouth bass more than anything else, is because if it was easy, if anybody could go out there and catch them, then what would be the appeal?
I'm anxious to see what a big bass. I mean, that's everybody's dream, is catching a big largemouth, a 10-pound or whatever. I've never caught one, and I'd like to know what it's.
A 10-pound bass is kind of like a 170 Boone and Crockett buck or a 160 and above. And there's not many of them. They just don't, something happens to them, disease, or somebody catches them, or you just don't see that many 10 to 12-pound bass, especially anything over 10.
What do you got?
That's a big fish too.
Oh, whatever.
Oh, he's damn in the darn brush again.
Now we ain't doing, Lonnie.
Swim out, boy. I'll never get that one out. Look at him pull out the slack. Oh, Lord, what a fish.
Hang on.
Get over the tree.
I'm trying.
Okay, I'm gonna make a move here. Just bear with me. Reach the fish.
This is above and beyond the.
Just grab the fish. Wait a minute, he's pulling down. Pull the tree back up.
Hang on, whoa.
Oh.
I lost him.
Give me my fish.
He fell off. I lost him.
I can't believe we're gonna do that. That is what we look for. Over the last 10 to 15 years, jig fishing as a whole has changed a lot. We have a lot of finesse jigs. We have all kind of different kind of round-headed jigs. And here in the last 4 or 5 years, the football jig has really got really popular. And here, what we're finding out is a lot of different ways. We know how to pitch the jig in the bushes or the boathouses or fish the rock ledges and stuff like that. But we've been taking a football jig over here at Sam Rayburn and Toledo Bend. Also, they've been doing it up in the Arkansas and all the Rocky Lakes. Instead of doing a lot of hopping like we do a regular jig, we take a regular jig and take the rod and make the bait, give it a lot of action. With a football jig, 3/8, halves, 3/4, whatever, what you want to do is throw it out a lot of times, play like you're Carolina rigging. Just drag it real slow across the bottom. And when the bait's coming across the bottom, drag it about 2-3 feet and stop it. And just keep on dragging it. And a lot of times it'll come in contact with a stump or a little piece of moss or a rock or something that'll make it stand up. And what happens when it comes in contact with something, you just want to tap it to it and make it. And what happens is it'll kick it up. It'll kick the trailer up. That's a great new way to fish a football jig, is dragging a football jig.
But I'm gonna bring this jig right through that hole right there. And chances are one of them is gonna get on there. Now, I mean, I know I'm sitting here trying to call my shot, and that's not always the best bet to do for TV, but I'll bet you he's in there. There he is. I told you. He's in there. Good little fighting fish. Ain't real big, but nonetheless, just good quality bass right there. Just good little quality bass. Hang on, I'm gonna chuck right back in there. I'm gonna see if I can get another. Right in there between that standing cedar and that lay down.
Seems like though these fish are kind of like schooled up. You know, I guess because of the pods of the shad blowing through, you know, we'll fish for like 30 minutes, not catch nothing, and all at once we'll catch 3 or 4.
There he is right there. That's a better fish. That's a better fish. Better fish. Come here, boy. That's what I mean. Jig fishing right there. Windy day, chunking them up against that pole timber and some lay downs. Buddy, that's what jig fishing is all about right there. You don't think you didn't want it? Look at that right there.
You know, we get all kind of people coming in to our part of the country fishing. We're always learning different things as far as new ways to do whatever. I was talking to some guys the other day, was using some saltwater minnows. I don't know who made them, but they were real hard. And he said, you know what? We bought some of the Berkeley Gulp Alive stuff, our saltwater stuff. And what we was doing is taking our lizards and our worms. This is fish attractant, but it also does a couple other things. It makes like a saltwater plastic real soft, or a soft plastic even softer. So when you buy this Berkeley Gulp Alive stuff, you can take anything, just take the lid off of it, and take your anything that's hard, or if you feel like it needs to be scented, and just drop it in there. Leave it in there about 2 or 3 days. I'm guarantee you'll catch a lot more fish with it. It seems to work really, really well. It makes the fish hold on to it a lot longer. Back a side, there will be another fish there. There he is. Get him. Got him?
Yeah, I got him. See how you wait, Lonnie?
That's a good one.
You know, when you wait, that's a decent fish right there, Lonnie.
I'm telling you, that's a good one. Wow, that's a real good fish. Oh.
Now,
what'd you say about the chartreuse?
Yeah, what color am I using versus yours?
You're using the new bullfrog color. It's brand new.
Look at that now. You talk about a chunk. That's an oxbow bass for you right there now.
Woo. Yeah, I saw how you waited too when you set the hook.
You doggone right. Of course, my rivet just jumped up. That's a good little oxbow bass. Look how fat, big gutted rascal. I mean, that's a good one.
I sometimes think they hit those frogs so hard, to kill it. If they're not trying to eat, they're trying to eat it and kill it both at the same time. And they hit it so violently and they knock it up in the air. A lot of times if you can throw back in there and use one of them little weighted hooks, and you let it sink right back where you lost him or missed him, he'll hit it, not lost, the one that misses it. There'll be some out here and that kind of stuff. Look at all them lay down.
Mr. Frog here. Mr. Rivet.
You know, we've been experimenting with all different kinds of lines and rod and reels over the last 4 or 5 years of fishing these rivet frogs and horny-toed frogs, and everybody's got a frog now. And it's one thing we've learned. We have tied all kind of different lines on braided lines, and I've had a lot of them come loose. I've double looped, improved, clinch knot. Let me tell you something. The old-timey, just a little Palomar knot where you take about 8 inches of your line. Don't get out here 2 or 3 inches. Get you about 18 inches of line, and you just double your line. This is by far the best knot. Let me tell you something. Of all the knots I've used, this is the only one you want to use. Just run it through, and then you just tie just a regular old, what I call a granny knot. A granny knot. And you take the loop end. See, I've got plenty of slack, and then you run the bait through it. And all the time I'm doing this, I'm holding the other one with my hand. See the other here? This is the loose end, and you just pull the loose end. And the reason I've got a long one here, look, this braided line on a frog, you might not have to retie for 2 or 3 fishing trips, 3 or 4 weekends. So you got enough line on each side, you got 8 inches on one side, and pull this dude. Pull it down really good. That's the only knot you should use when you're frog fishing. It does not come loose. Every other knot I ever tried, sometime during the day it'll come loose. You use that old knot right there, the old Palomar knot, one of the oldest knots in the world. Works great. I have a problem getting him out of that tree there.
He's trying to get out of it.
Finally stopped the boat.
Just a little. If I can give him enough.
Hold your rod up and I'll carry you around the tree. Are you out of this one here where you go around? Hold on, let me get around. There he is, there he is. Get him now, get him, he's out.
All right.
He come out. That's a good fish there now.
Ain't bad. Solid fish.
That's a good fish. Tournament winning fish right there now.
Tournament winning fish, huh?
5 of those about win any tournament.
Boy, he's fat too. Boy, he is healthy.
Monofilament line, braided line, fluorocarbon line, 10 pound, 15 pound, 30 pound, 50 pound. When do you fish the different types of line? You know, that's just something else that, boy, you gotta interject in that brain of yours as to when to use certain lines and how big a test to use. Then you got your rods, you got your cranking rods, and then you've got your worm rods, and you got your topwater rods, and you know, which bait caster do I want? A 5-4 gear ratio, a 6-3? Do I want a 7-1? There's a lot of different things when it comes to this bass fishing that can really drive you crazy. But really, if you just stick to the basics, I think, and that right there will probably help you as well as anything. It certainly has me, because I don't have the brain capacity to store all this stuff in here, because I have to fish for other types of fish species too, so I just can't have largemouth on the brain.
Look at that much line you got out.
Hey, that's why you stick
That's
with it.
cheating now.
That's why you
That's a
stick
good
with
fish.
it. You stick with it. Oh!
You learned that from Jimmy Houston, that quick release, didn't you?
Man. Look at him, see
Oh,
him?
look. Hold on a minute. 2 or 3 fish there with that.
Yeah, put it in there, drop it in there.
Oh, I'll get you tight.
Go ahead, just drop it in there, drop it in there.
That's a big old fish you got. I don't want to mess yours up.
God, how about that? See? I told you, Lonnie, you got him.
No,
You
I
got him,
don't
put it
got
back
him.
in there, put it back in there.
Now I got him. Oh, man, come on.
Come on, we gotta do it. What's the matter with you?
Had him twice.
There he is.
There
I
he
told
is.
you, I saw him come get it.
Oh, I can't keep one on.
Now, don't try to get overwhelmed by all the new stuff or whatever else. You know, I think that you can get too much information sometimes, and it can just make for a miserable time on the water. But the good people like Lonnie Stanley, that's been doing it for nearly 50 years out there, those are the guys that we need to cherish. We need to just pick their brain constantly and just soak up like a sponge this information that these guys have. That's probably the best tip that I can give you when it comes to bass fishing, is go to the old timers. Those are the guys right there. They're information central, and they can make you a better bass fisherman.
Bend it back down. Most of the time they're going to bend it out like that. If you got a good spinnerbait, it'll bend it up out of the way like that, and you won't, the fish hits it.
But thanks to Lonnie for today's show. That's all we got for it. But just remember, we'll see you out there somewhere. next week, right here on the G3 Sportsman. Thanks for watching.
Here's your fish. Here's the brush pile he was in. Here's the spinnerbait that you caught him on. I swear it was. What's the deal here? You caught my fish again.
You threw him in there and I just probably hooked him. No.
It's kind of funny, we don't really know whether to throw the jig or the swim bait, and fish don't know whether to bite the swim bait or the jig.
I'll sell you this fish in your next tournament.
Don't say that.